I was 8.5 months pregnant with my second child, and my oldest was 5 months. And it was a warm night, and we'd gone to visit my husband's uncle, and we came back and we're just having some ice cream, and I'd gone back into our bedroom, and it was all sort of, you know, one of those hot nights. And next minute I heard this ruckus at the front door, and I turned around and I had a very tall man pointing a gun in my face.
All of us were very fit. We'd all had some experiences as detectives in the suburbs, as divisional detectives. Most of the blokes would have been detective senior constables up to detective sergeant second class as active workers, investigators. We were all members of SWAS, the Special Weapons and Operations Squad, which of course was called upon if there was any siege situations or armed offenders were trapped anywhere and police needed backup. Well, of course, we then also acted as SWAS members. So, yeah, we're a pretty tough gang, I suppose you might call us.
I going to back door. When I go to back door, from hillside, I see gun, green uniform, like soldier. A point a gun on me, said, hands up and get out. Oh, God. And I left my hands up and I go outside. When I go outside, all maybe 5, 6 or more ran around me and start me beat with gun, with pistols on my head, on my back. Grab my hair, pull my hair back and put the gun in my mouth. When I pull my hair back, my mouth open and said, shoot the bloody bastard, shoot them.
They did portray us as right-wing extremist Nazis and all that, primarily because we were fighting a so-called communist regime, and secondly because of the Second World War, because of the independent state of Croatia. And that's very ironic. I mean, no one today blames Finns for allying with Germans when they had to fight Russians. Or, for another matter of fact, Indonesia, when they accepted Japanese help in getting rid of their colonial masters. So with Croatia, we had the independent state of Croatia during those 4 years, not because we're pro-German or pro-Nazi, but primarily because Croatians wanted their own independent state. Croatians felt in a jail, and you would give hand to anyone who was trying to destroy the jail.
After beat me there, and take me to police stations. After a while, take me to police station to question me and put me some questions. I don't know much anything. My English that time not that really good. No translation for me. The police read some statement, said you have to sign it, this, otherwise we kill you. Another guy bring the shotgun from another room, said if you not sign it, I blast your body with that. And one policeman have like electric button in the hand, said we bash you with that, you have to sign it. And I signed it. Should I never sign it? I make big mistake in my life. If I not sign it, I don't know, be different matter on me. Detectives bring me one list of name or another 5 or 6 Croatian. He say, I think 5. And said, this is wrong spelling. Can you give me another pipe and pen? Can you correctly read down what from here in Croatian? And I've written. And when come to court, police, this pipe another put in pocket, he said, he giving names for us. But I not giving name for them. They have already bring a wrong spelling.
The main one that I remember was Brajkovic, because he was so badly bashed up at the time. I'd seen him the day before because it was his daughter's birthday, and the next morning he was just badly beaten up.
I think it was a set-up job because, I mean, no one in their right mind. I mean, the Croatians, they were, fighting for Croatian independence. They were grateful to this country. They didn't come here to damage this country. The things that they were accused of, like, trying to bomb houses and all that, put this cyanide poison in Sydney, water and all that. No man in his right mind would do it, especially Croatian. They were, this was their new country, new homeland. There wasn't reason why they would try to damage this country. So it was a set-up job.
No, I'd say it wasn't planted. I'd say the evidence was factual. And if you want my reason for that is that, look, if you're going to do something really corrupt and expose yourself to a criminal charge of conspiracy to pervert the course of justice or perjury, or any other pretty serious associated charge, you want to have guys with you who you trusted implicitly, who you'd worked with before, knew as friends and knew them as co-conspirators. But on this particular night, I mean, looking at that list that you gave me, we were grouped, with different other blokes. Now we had a special branch bloke there, Graham Carruthers, Sergeant Carruthers. Now I'd never worked with Graham in my life before. He was a special branch man. He was a headquarters man. Had nothing to do with him. So they were broken up into groups from the different parts, different sections, different squads. So if you were looking at a conspiracy theory, you'd say, well, look, at least they've put a gang of blokes together who've worked together for years. So if they're so inclined, they'd be able to do this without the slightest problem, because they're so close-knit, they work so closely together, they'd have no problem, doing something untoward as what you're suggesting.
I don't think now, looking at whether UDBA was behind, that is the Yugoslav Intelligence Service behind the Sydney 6 case, I don't think there's any doubt. I think it's very clear from evidence that's been available for a long time, including coming out of the Balkans more recently, that the so-called Croatian 6 case, which caused such a stir in Australia, understandably, was in fact a provocation by the Yugoslav Intelligence Services. These were individuals who were back in Yugoslavia at the time, but were directly involved with or directly knew of the case. This was a case that was considered a great success by UDBA for understandable reasons. They succeeded in discrediting the Croatian diaspora in Australia completely through the case. What UDBA pulled off in Australia in the late 70s was frankly epic in their own terms. Australia before that time had not been an active area for operations for UDBA, but it rose during the 1970s, culminating in the Croatian 6 case. And this was arguably the greatest success that UDBA had in all of its history of foreign operations. After all, UDBA in this case managed to basically paralyze the Australian government and get them to, through ASIO, to discredit the entire cause. I was the technical director of Balkan operations for the National Security Agency. I became interested in this problem back in the 1990s during the hunt for war criminals, many of them Serbs, not exclusively. And I was very intrigued by the fact that many of them had the same curriculum vitae, the same CV. That is, individuals who were involved with organized crime, yet had connections to the State Security Service. And this CV came up over and over again. And I quickly determined these individuals had roots in the special program, as they called it, of UDBA back in the days of communism. That is, individuals who did dirty work for UDBA, for Belgrade abroad, in Western Europe, in the United States, very much in Australia, who wound up doing terrible things in the 1990s. And this sort of whetted my appetite to find out what was really going on. I'm a counterintelligence officer by background, and I wanted to know the truth. I suspect that at the worker level, unwitting, I have no doubt that individuals at a higher level were winning. How high I, as an American, I'm not sure. I think there are very awkward questions here about who exactly knew what when.
I feel that there's been, in this case, a grave injustice because of information which was withheld at the trial and at the appeal of the 6 people who are convicted of conspiring to bomb the Sydney water pipeline, the Elizabethan Theatre in Sydney, and who were sentenced to very serious sentences of 15 years and so on. I feel confident that it would have swayed the course of the trial if it had been known by the defending barristers and their clients. Well, there have been miscarriages of justice in relation to terrorism around the world, and the Birmingham 6 and the Guildford 4 are 2 examples of that, where people were convicted and subsequently it was found that there had been dodgy practices by police and others to get those convictions, and they were subsequently overturned. This case is, I believe, as great an injustice as those cases, and the facts, if they were known, would have led, I believe, to the findings of not guilty against the 6 people who were convicted.
It still means a lot to Australian Croatians because these men were actually charged basically with evidence given by a witness that was a Yugoslav secret agent, and they were seen as being terrorists, and still to this day Croatians on occasion are seen as being terrorists. So I think it's important that not just that the Croatian 6 and what happened to them, that there is some sort of review, judicial review or inquiry done to exonerate them, but I think it's also important for the Australian Croatians as well.
I like my record be clear. I be like if it can be clear, but depends on Australian government what they do or not. Depends on Australian government can clear or not. I know can do nothing. Yeah. I like to be clear, to my name be clear. And my kids' name too be clear, because said father bastards. You know, I'm not bastard, but that's like, I'm not terrorist. If I'm terrorist, if I don't like Australian government, I've been a long time pissed off from here. But I'm still here. I'm still here.
Our whole family was destroyed. You know, from a married woman, I ended up being a single mum, and I still hadn't had my child. I was 8.5 months pregnant. I had to send off my daughter to Melbourne to stay with my mum because my whole world had fallen apart. And I was very young at the time and it was a nightmare. I would like to see a review, but even though I'd like to see a review, but nobody could give me back my life or my children's life or, Joseph back his life. Nobody can pay you back for that nightmare. That can't be fixed. But yes, I would like to see, and I don't know if it would be justice, but I would like the truth to be known. And the truth is that they were innocent.
I've spoken to people I know who told me that they've been bashed up by cops and verbal and loaded, you know, but what do you do about it? I mean, what can I do about it personally? I mean, you go along to the cops and you say, listen, did you belt this bloke? Oh, he told you that bullshit, mate, you know. I'll cut it out, you know. What, you think we laid this bloke up? Cut it out, mate. You know what I mean? I mean, you've got a massive, great brick wall you've got to climb over. It's bigger than the Great Wall of China to try and get over the top of. I mean, half your luck, and maybe you can do it, but I think you're going to be battling.